Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Radio Academy podcast. I'm Hayley Hayes. On today's episode, we have a very special treat as I'm handing over the mic to two guest presenters, Florrie and Kiera from Leeds Student Radio. LSR hosted our recent Foot in the Door one-day training and networking event for folks starting out in their audio careers. If you're wondering what goes on at these events, then here's Florrie and Kiera to bring you up to speed.
Hello, I'm Florrie Ward.
And I'm Kiera Ford.
And we're here on behalf of LSR for Radio Academy's Foot in the Door event.
Yeah, it's a really exciting day. We've got lots of industry professionals here to talk to us, just give us some tips on networking and how to really hone our craft as we progress from student radio into professional radio. So Florrie, what are you most looking forward to about today?
I think mostly to hear the advice about podcasting. Don't get me wrong, I love a bit of live stuff, but I do head of podcasting at LSR and really excited to hear from the people that work with companies that some people may not have heard of before, like Audio Always, which can be a bit more behind the scenes, not in your face, I guess less known as maybe BBC. And yeah, just finding out their advice about how to market your podcast, but also what it takes to create a good show that people are going to continue to listen to. What are you looking forward to?
I'm excited to just sort of have those one-on-one chats with people and really get the little nuggets of wisdom that they have about networking and applying for jobs and just how to maximise the most of your career and your time in student radio. I think this knowledge is invaluable. And obviously the talks are going to be really fun as well. It's always exciting to learn something new at these types of events.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am Katie Tully. I'm the head of curation for BBC Sounds. So my job is the best job in the world. It means I get to listen to all the audio content. I get to work out what goes where and when. And my job is basically trying to serve the right content to the right audiences at the right time.
What was your journey getting to where you are now?
I'm an imposter. I came from TV. I started off as an apprentice working for Turner Broadcasting, working on Cartoon Network, which is a great entry-level job. Then I moved over to Sky. I was at Sky for a few years. Then I joined the BBC for BBC Children's, worked across the scheduling for BBC Children's and across iPlayer. So I came in as a digital expert. I've got a big background in video on demand, curation, marketing, media planning, so it's that route in. And then I joined BBC Sounds 3 years ago, just as the pandemic hit, which is a great time to start a new job and a new career. But I've always had a passion for audio, so it was a real dream to sort of get this job.
For people that are looking into going towards a similar role to you, what would you recommend for someone who's maybe about to leave uni or just wants to get some experience under their belt so that they stand out when they eventually go to find jobs?
So I would definitely say try everything, work out what your passion is and try things that might not be your passion. Like, I wasn't an expert in kids TV. I now am an expert in kids TV. I wasn't a kid, but I knew it. So it's definitely about trying different things, putting yourself out there to become, if you were interested in going down the digital route, I think it's about being expert at everything, like understanding how digital data works, understanding how platforms work, understanding how algorithms work, how products work, because there's a lot more to it than just putting a bunch of content on a homepage.
Obviously, starting out in TV, are there any specific skills that you think were particularly transferable between the TV industry and then moving forward into radio?
100%. I think one of the most important things is content, right? You're nothing without the content. The content drives it. And talk about working in kids TV. I wasn't a kid, but I knew what good content was and I knew who the audience was. So it's about really understanding what makes something good, and it might not be for you, but it will be for someone. So it's really having a good editorial understanding of what good looks like.
Finally, what's your top tip when you're approaching a networking situation?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Remember people's names and just listen as well as asking questions. Listen to what people are saying and learning from other people, because these are great events where you get to meet so many people with loads of different experience. So it's about listening as well as asking questions.
At one point I was doing like an overnight, 'cause that often is how you'd start and how I continued. You do like a 1 till 6, and then someone told me actually the person who's on the show after me, there was a show in between, and then the one after me, there was like, they're ill, and we'd like you to cover that, and that was a good show to cover. And I of course said yes, and they went, well, there's no point you going home, is there? So I took all
bolt.
Yeah. You really get to know the security guards in the early stage of your career.
I'm Shan Heron, and I'm a producer at This Is Distorted.
I'm Becky Lamb-Pritchard, and I'm head of marketing at This Is Distorted.
What's your favourite bit about Radio Academy and the event today?
I love bringing lots of people together who are all passionate about audio.
It's great to see the next generation of audio professionals all working together and connecting. And do you have any key advice for breaking into the industry? Be nice, smile, be friendly, ask for advice, but also ask about the person giving the advice. Keep in contact with them, email them, and don't ghost them. Stay on top of their inbox.
I absolutely love being here today and just seeing so many passionate and excited people. It's good that we can all work from home, but it's a bit boring as well, so it's nice to be out where people are. But I would also say is that you are young and fresh and vibrant, and you know apps like TikTok like the back of your hand, and don't be so yes, ask for advice and listen and learn, but don't feel like you don't deserve to be there, because you bring with you loads of new ideas, a fresh outlook, and older stations need young people.
I'm here with Ben Henderson. Ben, tell us a bit about what you do.
I present history podcasts, a podcast called Witness History on the BBC World Service.
What's your podcasting top tip?
Well, for me, it's all about the guests you choose. You've got to get someone who was there, who witnessed a massive event in human history and can tell a great story as well. So it's about that kind of hard facts mixed with emotion.
And what's your favourite part about events like Foot in the Door?
Well, it's just great to meet people as well, because I was doing exactly these kind of events only a few years ago, trying to get in and feeling totally hopeless, having been rejected by like every trainee scheme under the sun. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to kind of tell people like these are the kind of people you can email. You just got to kind of keep persisting, don't give up because you didn't get on a scheme. It's all about just firing off those emails and you'll just make it in eventually.
We're joined now with Aradna from the Radio Academy. So what is your networking top tip?
I think it's really important when you're networking to listen to the person that you're talking to. It's really easy to go in and think, right, what can I get from this conversation? That's really important because, hey, that's what networking's all about. But it's a two-way thing. You've got to have a conversation. You've got to find out each other's interests. You never know when that person might be your next collaborator, might give you your next commission, or when you end up employing them. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? So listen, don't be looking over their shoulder to see who's next.
And what's your networking pet peeve?
People who look over your shoulder when you're talking to them because you're not interesting enough for them. I get that you need to look at where you are now, what you want to get to. I get that it's really hard when you're stuck talking to one person in a room of 100, but just take the time to listen and have a conversation.
Amen, cool. I'm a radio producer for a company called Audio Always, but we make lots of radio programs, including, I should say, stations like Radio 1, 1 Extra, BBC Asia Network, Radio 3.
Tell us a bit about how you started to break into the industry and any advice that you'd offer for anyone else looking for a similar route.
I actually struggled to get into my student radio, and I kind of just let it go. I was like, fine, I've tried it. I just want to enjoy uni and party instead. And then when I finished uni, I got into local radio, and literally it was a case of, hi, can I come in and do some work experience? I'll make tea, I'll pick up the phone, whatever you need me to do. And then slowly from there, I started working in local radio. I initially did the chart show for Sunrise Radio in Bradford, and from there I actually got a full-time job, and I really wanted to carry on with radio, but I had bills to pay, so I worked full-time in a bank, which I hated, but I did the breakfast show. So I'd get up, do the breakfast show for local radio, finish there at 9, and then head over to the bank and do that. But I carried on with that for a long time just because radio was my little escape and what I wanted to do, and I just couldn't find any other way of getting into any other industry. But I thought if I carry on with local radio, something will pop up eventually. And then from there, I initially saw a 8-week internship at the BBC, applied for it and managed to get in.
So sort of talking about working in a bank and also doing radio and sort of waiting for that moment to come up. Yeah. How did you stay resilient during that period?
I think it was just a case of I love doing it, and that kind of buzz you get from waking up and doing the show, it kind of countered any crap days that I had throughout the rest of it. So I was like, I'm going to carry on regardless. It is tough. You have days where you're like, I should just give up. And even when I got that internship, it was 8 weeks, which is nothing. You know, they flew by, and I was working in a bank and they were like, you can't have 2 months off. And at that point, I just said, right, if it's 8 weeks, I'm going to quit. I was like, I will quit for 8 weeks because I need to make sure that I do this. I think looking back, I didn't make enough connections. I should have put myself out more. So if you're working in local radio, just kind of hit up producers and presenters and even just offer to do like, I'll do a film review, or can I just come on to talk about an artist that I love? If they've got a feature, get involved. They're little ways of just putting your foot in the door, I think.
How do you suggest maybe finding the right person that you want to network with? Because I think sometimes you can just see all of these names and think, who do I go to first? And how do I approach them and seem genuinely interested?
I think don't just go for the presenters. They're the front face of the job, but they always have producers that they mentioned, or you can find them on social media platforms, and don't be afraid to reach out to them. Some of the people that I work with now here in the industry, I work with a guy called Harim Rashid, and he is the daytime presenter on BBC Asian Network. And his initial, I didn't know him at this point, but he always talks about how his initial way into radio was literally to talk to the producers and say, I will come on and review a film for you because you need a film reviewer. And he didn't go to the presenters. Like, that was not his port of call. He was like, I need to tell the producers who I'm about. But also there's things like the Radio Academy, and they have loads of people and loads of events on. If you pop along, they often have people that are there from the industry, not just presenters and producers, but other people that are involved. So playlist teams or people that work on bigger events or live events for the station. They're always looking for kind of the short-term role. So they're looking for runners at events, and it's just a good way of networking without having to do too much work, and you're not worried about, am I going to take a radio station off there? No, it's literally, they will take you in at a very entry level, but it's a good way to kind of work your way up from there.
Thanks again to Florrie and Kiera for the wonderful coverage. To keep up to date with future events, ensure you follow the Radio Academy on all the socials and visit our website radioacademy.org. Take care for now, and I'll catch you next time.